Just as the iron claws were about to pierce through, Liang Yu swiftly drew her sword, slicing off both arms of the werewolf in one swift motion. At that moment, the werewolf was left with only 2 stumps of wrists, blood spurting everywhere, while the severed hands fell to the ground. Liang Yu continued to swing her sword several more times, severing the neck and elbows from the werewolf's body. Liang Yu stood coldly with her blood-stained sword. Not far away lay the dismembered body of the werewolf scattered around the area. The battle intensified as Hua Hua, Su Chunlei, and Uncle Vu tried their best to defend themselves, taking down countless soldiers. However, once the superhuman forces joined the fray, the situation quickly changed. The elite warriors from the Zhaoyu base and Yangsheng were not few, and after breaching the defense line, the superhumans began to demonstrate their abilities. Wei Dinghai, after being injured, temporarily withdrew. However, 5 more superhumans continued to charge into the battle. Uncle Vu, with his machine gun still smoking from the previous fierce battle, used his dual machine guns to eliminate the ordinary soldiers. Suddenly, he noticed a green flash beside him. In just a moment, Chen Jingguan appeared next to Uncle Vu. Like a boneless snake, Chen Jingguan wrapped himself tightly around Uncle Vu, beginning to squeeze him with his strength. Uncle Vu, panicking, tried to exert all his force to break free from Chen Jingguan's grip. Seeing this, Chen Jingguan smirked coldly and said, "Even bullets can't pierce me. Do you think you can escape?" Uncle Vu, enraged, gritted his teeth and struggled but found no way to break free. Chen Jingguan tightened his grip like a giant snake, squeezing Uncle Vu even more. Despite Uncle Vu's immense strength, he could not overcome Chen Jingguan's rubber-like superpower, especially his ability to withstand powerful forces. Fortunately, Hua Hua witnessed this scene and let out a powerful roar. The roar resembled that of a lion's, its sheer volume stunning Chen Jingguan to the point of nearly losing consciousness, his eyes glazing over and face blank. With some remaining consciousness, he cursed, "Damn beast." Uncle Vu, with all his strength in resisting, felt the pressure from Chen Jingguan lessen and immediately reached out his large hands, grabbing and forcefully pulling Chen Jingguan away from himself. Uncle Vu tried to pull and jerk several times, but Chen Jingguan's body was like tough gum, hard to separate. After a moment of struggle, Uncle Vu finally managed to strangle Chen Jingguan. Zhang Yi furrowed his brows. He knew that merely standing firm and resisting was no longer meaningful. He didn't want Uncle Vu and the others to sacrifice themselves, especially since he had few friends and reinforcements from the Zhaoyu and Yangsheng bases could arrive at any moment. Zhang Yi ordered, "Everyone, retreat to the hideout." Immediately after, Zhang Yi also informed Liang Yu. "Liang Yu, you too. You can't fight them all alone. Stay rational." The group received Zhang Yi's order and immediately chose to fight while retreating. Liang Yu, her face emotionless, wiped the blood from her face and decided to follow Zhang Yi's command and return to the hideout. After all, after a day of fighting, her energy was considerably depleted. If it weren't for Yang Xia preparing food, she would hardly have been able to persevere until now, but this time she had gained a lot. Continuing to fight was meaningless. She couldn't approach Yangsheng's command base to exact revenge. Just as she was about to take the werewolf's head and leave, a squad of soldiers quickly and decisively arrived. Liang Yu grabbed the werewolf's head and swiftly ran back to the hideout. Zhang Yi, from a high vantage point with a sniper rifle, provided cover for Uncle Vu, Su Chunlei, Liang Yu, and the big cat Hua Hua to return safely. Zhang Yi's group retreated to their internal defensive line. Seeing his comrades return, Zhang Yi breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Liang Yu didn't do anything reckless or rush to her death. The group fought while retreating. Thanks to Zhang Yi's sniper support and the assistance of the spatial door, they successfully withdrew to the entrance of the hideout. Immediately afterward, Zhang Yi's eyes followed the Baixue sect members who were merely observing from a distance and not participating in the fight. The young man, while aiming and locking onto his target, muttered, "Still just watching, haha." Zhang Yi decided to teach them a lesson to show that merely watching was not always safe. Yang Xinxin, use all remaining firepower to target the Baixue sect members. Although the Baixue sect's defensive line had not suffered significant damage initially because their attack wasn't all out and Zhang Yi had no real intention of killing them from the start, the situation had now changed. Observing without intervening, Zhang Yi had no hesitation in taking action. He was determined not to let anyone have the chance to interfere. Yang Xinxin quickly complied, moving his hands nimbly across the keyboard. In moments, the machine gun system was activated, unleashing a barrage of bullets towards the Baixue sect soldiers. Zhang Yixian initially planned to continue waiting for an opportune moment to act, intending to support whichever side emerged victorious. However, the unexpected artillery attack caused heavy casualties among the Baishue sect soldiers, catching them unprepared. Furious, Zhang Yixian activated the defensive shield and cursed, "Damn you, Zhang Yi." He quickly retreated inside the shield, angered by Zhang Yi's attack but understanding that it was Zhang Yi's response to their hesitation. Taking a deep breath, Zhang Yixian increased the shield's defense, realizing it was time to act. A moment later, he ordered, "Followers, follow me into the shelter. Zhang Yi's failure won't benefit us. Our real enemies are the major bases." He commanded a group of Baishue sect followers to move through the crowd and head toward the hideout. The area around the hideout was now surrounded, with smoke bombs thrown around, causing significant obstacles for Zhang Yi's snipers. Zhang Yi activated the infrared function to prevent enemies from using explosives to harm them through their line of sight. Inside the shelter, Uncle Vu and everyone else looked out, worried by the dense number of soldiers. Uncle Vu asked for Zhang Yi's opinion. "Zhang Yi, what should we do now? Should we abandon the two-story building above ground and escape underground?" Zhang Yi calmly replied, "Why worry? Our hideout's defense is very strong. It won't be easily breached." Just then, a rumbling noise echoed through the fog. Zhang Yi vaguely saw a group of people scattering and a large bulldozer slowly approaching. Frowning, Zhang Yi sensed something was wrong. "So, this is their assault power," he muttered. Zhang Yi opened the spatial door and took out dozens of crates of grenades and explosives. He told everyone, "Go down to the first floor and wait." Holding grenades and explosives in his hands, the young man coldly declared, "Let them taste the explosives." From the window protected by the spatial door, Zhang Yi began throwing grenades and explosives outside. Before the enemies could rejoice, a terrifying explosion rang out. Amidst them, 7 or 8 people were blasted apart, their bodies and blood scattering everywhere. Grenades and explosives continued to be thrown out from the window without pause. Having emptied the Shishan base's arsenal, Zhang Yi always had enough weapons and ammunition. "You really think just breaching the first layer of our defense means victory? How foolish." Zhang Yi continued to smirk coldly, throwing out a large bundle of explosives from the hideout. The continuous explosions quickly killed over 100 people. The remaining soldiers, terrified, scrambled to evade. Their hearts felt like they were about to burst, but facing Zhang Yi's monstrous abilities, they had no way to counterattack. Some had tried, but every bullet fired at the spatial door fell back on their own heads. The explosion created shock waves that dissipated the fog, and Zhang Yi finally saw the driver of the construction vehicle, a familiar face. After a moment of thought, he recognized it was Wu Huiren, a security guard from the security company, an old friend. Zhang Yi continued to throw explosives, muttering, "I never expected they had someone like him. No wonder they're confident enough to attack our hideout." Zhang Yi, speaking in an unfriendly tone, immediately threw a grenade in that direction. However, the construction vehicle, being a crucial part of this operation, was naturally well protected. As Zhang Yi's grenade flew towards it, a large figure suddenly appeared in mid-air, seemingly made of rubber. Using his rubbery body, he bounced the grenades back. The explosions echoed loudly. It was Chen Jingguan from the Zhaoyu base, who possessed the Rubberman superpower. Meanwhile, Wu Huiren seized this opportunity to drive the construction vehicle closer to the hideout. A long mechanical arm extended from the vehicle, aiming at a specific spot on the wall and began cutting. Xiao Honglian quickly pointed and ordered, "Disperse and attack from different angles to obscure Zhang Yi's vision." At that moment, Zhang Yi was holding a grenade, ready to throw it outside, when he suddenly heard, "Warning! Warning! Warning!" The wall of the hideout was being subjected to high temperatures, suffering severe damage. Zhang Yi felt a bit puzzled but quickly realized what was happening. Wu Huiren could operate the construction vehicle to attack the hideout. This hideout was a product of the company where Wu Huiren used to work. He knew the weaknesses and how to create a breach. How long would it take for them to break through? At the current rate, it would take about a day to completely break the wall. Zhang Yi felt reassured. Within one day, he had enough time to eliminate many enemies. He had said that if these people dared to risk their lives against him, they would have to accept heavy consequences. Even if they broke through, they could still move underground, but these forces would also suffer significant losses and casualties. Zhang Yi decided not to worry about the construction vehicle. He lowered his head, utilizing his sniper rifle and grenades to eliminate enemies as effectively as possible. Although the smoke bombs affected his assassination efficiency, a single hit would still ensure the enemy's death. Uncle Vu and the others on the first floor of the shelter couldn't see what was happening outside, but they could hear the cutting sounds from the wall, making them anxious and worried. Su Chunlei then asked Zhang Yi through the communication system, "Boss, should we retreat?" Zhang Yi replied calmly, "Don't rush, wait a little longer."